Hey folks, it's E-Chip,
And Robert.
and we're on a little vacay. I'll show you the view.
$5 million to the first person who can guess where we are, except he's showing the side of that little
Well, I don't know
hill.
if they can see it on here though. I'll give you a hint. We're below the equator. We're south of the equator. And I'll give you another hint. It's Latin America.
We should do a helicopter ride. They're probably not that expensive.
I bet they are. But yeah.
Football.
The football.
It's
a
the
football
Coliseum.
stadium. Yeah.
It's like the Coliseum.
Okay.
Look, there are some people out there playing football.
So we're a bit tired. It's taken us about 2 days to get here, and we haven't had much sleep. And we did just get a little nap, but now we're heading down into town here for a little bit of shopping, to see a few sights and see what's going on. So let's go, Robert.
Peace out.
Adobe architecture. Another clue as to where we're at. Empanada de carne, so beef empanada.
Como se dice enjoy?
Disfrute. Disfruta means you all enjoy. Enjoy. Okay.
This is a juice for arthritis.
What's in it?
Carrots, celery, and I don't remember.
What's in it? Was it pineapple? I don't remember.
Pineapple, carrot, celery, pineapple,
And lemon, I think.
and limon.
Yeah. It's a pretty color. And this is the national drink of where we are. It's called chicha morada. It's made with purple corn. It's a corn flavored drink. This is our first taste of food in the country, so we thought we'd have a little snack on our way to things and see how it is. Chicha morada is not bad. It's got a beautiful color, and I don't know. There's some kind of they put some kind of herb or something in here for flavor besides the corn and and sugar. I don't know what it is, but it's good. It's a busy street, but you can see some of the architecture here. The lower part is stone. Upper part is colonial, later, built on top of it. So, original stonework, later stonework around that window. What they did was they took the original buildings that were here, and over top of them they built these really large, called casona, but I mean it's like a mansion over top of the original Native American foundations. This one dates to 1599. We flew overnight to Lima. Yeah, it was overnight. I promptly left my phone on the plane as we exited,
I forgot about that.
and it stayed at the Lima airport, lost and found for a whole week while we were in Cusco. But then we caught a plane to Cusco. Got into Cusco. We had planned on renting a car. For some reason or another, not by us, but the rental car had been canceled, and so we were not able to rent a car. But it's probably best anyway, because getting around that town is not easy to do. And so then we got to the hotel. Hotel was pretty nice.
It's a newer place. A family owns it and converted a pretty large building into apartments and hotel space with short-term rental space for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice place, but the bed was super hard, and they had a duvet. I do not like a duvet now that I had to sleep with a duvet. It was really heavy. I said it felt like there's a dead body on top of me just laying there, and I couldn't do anything. And it was way too hot.
So you may be asking, why'd you guys go to Peru? And it really wasn't planned. It was, it was sort of a short-term, a last-minute kind of thing. My daughter, Chief, who you saw in the prior video that we put out, she and a friend were supposed to go to South America and spend a couple of weeks down there. And the idea was that we would meet up with them about toward the end of their trip, spend some time together in Cusco, and then, come home, maybe see Machu Picchu and come home. Well, her trip hit a snag, and she couldn't find, the friend that she was going to go with wasn't going to go. And so she tried to find another friend who could go with her, but couldn't find one who could take 2 weeks off, so that they could do that stuff together. So she wound up canceling the trip, and here we were with tickets to meet her in, Cusco, Machu Picchu, wherever. So, that's why we went. But I thought, well, this is an opportunity, since we're trying to build our own off-grid empire here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how the Inca ran their off-grid empire. And so I thought it was a unique opportunity for us to go, and turns out it was worth it. Did you like it, Robert?
Yes, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, well, we checked into the Hotel Inca Sabios. It's a newer place. It's off the tourist track and in a neighborhood type area. It's owned by a family, and they converted this rather substantial building into apartment complex and hotel space, short-term rental space. It was pretty nice.
I think Expedia and Hotels.com both had it listed as like 9.9 or 9.8 out of 10, something like that, and I would have to agree with that. It was a pretty nice place. For Peru, don't get me wrong, it's not the DoubleTree, and it's not the Omni, but for Cusco, Peru, it's pretty darn nice. It had solid wood furnishings in there. The bed linens were nice. It was clean. Had hot water, which I understand is a challenge for many places in Cusco, many hotels. But we had hot water every time we turned it on. So it was nice. It was in a neighborhood, so you heard some street noise and things like that, dogs barking at night, stuff like that, but not too bad. All in all, pretty good experience there. I'd recommend it. Checked in the hotel and slept. We slept for an hour or so.
I don't know, maybe.
Just to refresh ourselves, yeah. And then we decided to go into town, see what there was to see. So we have just visited like the coolest place here in Cusco, Coricancha, which is it's an old Inca site that was converted
No, he's so nice. Destroyed by Dominicans and rebuilt into a cathedral church convent thing.
Yeah, a church, and then a convent. It's a convent now, but it was a church then.
He's on the side of the Spanish in this.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it is what it is. I mean, yeah, amazing. I mean, amazing architecture by both cultures. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm just looking at the temple walls. The Inca temple walls were incredible. You know, and incredibly
They
built.
still are.
Well, yeah. So it's amazing. And when you look at this in the colonial time, if you take a look at these walls.
Well, but get a load of they used, some of the Inca stones, from the original to build that. But then you can see how different. I mean, the original Inca walls are fitted, no mortar, and dry stacked with peculiar joinery. These are just stacked stones, but they took some of the stones and used them. Others they reshaped and used them as just brick.
Well,
with mortar.
If you look to me at the difference between the colonial style and the Incan style, it's incredible how superior, in my opinion, the Incan building methods were.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Unreal.
Well, now, to be fair, even this type of stonework is often fitted together. Some of the stones are frogged. That is, they have special shapes in them so that they fit together good.
But they don't
stuff like
fit
that.
like that.
That's right. They're not the same. They're not dry stacked, and they're not total joinery. And
they just don't fit.
Yeah, and the Inca, and you can see them over there, behind that colonnade. The Inca built them at an angle with the largest stones on the bottom, most narrow stones on the top, to hold up against earthquakes and stuff like that. That's a pretty cool place. Pretty cool. I'd like to know more about the history all the way around.
Our first stop was at Coricancha, which was an old Inca site that when the conquistadors came in, they basically tore it down and built a cathedral on.
The first thing I wanted to do when I got there was sort of get the lay of the land and figure this town out, because, or at least the original town, because it's been so built over by everything, the whole valley has, that it's really hard to get a sense of what this place originally looked like when it was an Inca capital. So I guess the best way to describe it is that there is a valley. It's a long mountain valley, probably 20 miles long by about a mile wide or so, maybe a little wider in spots, that runs from north to south. And the original Inca capital was concentrated at the upslope end of the north end of this valley. And the town originally sort of trended up the end of the valley back up into the mountains. That's sort of the best way to describe it. My guess is that, including some of the sites we saw up toward the top, that this original Inca capital of Cusco was probably close to a mile long, from the base where the Temple of the Sun was and the square and all of that, up to the top where places like Sacsayhuaman and Tombo Macay and places like that are, up at the top. But you really need to think of it not as it was a town when the Inca had it, and it did have streets and a square and stuff like that when the Inca ruled it, but more than that, it was sort of a citadel type mountain city fortress combination thing that went up the town. That went up the hillside. And so that was my first thing, to try to get a lay of the land. What was this originally? And this place of Coricancha was some kind of Inca temple where mummies and treasure, ancestors' mummies were kept and stuff like that. It was a one-story complex that was probably, less than an acre in size originally. Had probably a 20-foot wall, 15-foot wall around it. Some of the buildings were built into the walls of the enclosure that form the back walls of some of these buildings, and just had thatch roofs, but were one story. And from what we understand, history tells us that when the Spanish took the town, when they first saw it, this wall that surrounded the complex was capped with solid gold. That there was a corner where there were a number of golden idols that were standing in the area there, and then, as I said, all of these little temples: the temple of the sun, the temple of the moon, the temple of lightning and thunder, and I forget what they were. Were they used to be plated in gold on the inside, and the walls, that is, and there used to be a number of idols and mummies and things like that in there that the Spanish basically leveled out and built a church over and a convent. And so that's what we really saw. We saw what was left of the convent, what was left of the church, but they did preserve, when they built the church over it, they did preserve many of the Inca walls inside of they just incorporated them inside of the church complex. So it was good to see that at least there was something left to look at. I read that Pizarro got news from Shosha that they found silver plate that was 3 fingers thick.
Yes.
3 fingers thick, 20 feet long, and how wide? I can't remember. It was big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Approximately 18,000 kilos of gold Spaniards stole from Peru. 18,000 kilos of gold.
So these walls were covered with gold plate. Do we know how tall this was?
Yes. After this Inca building, there was 1 meter plain wall.
Clay, okay.
And after this they put wood, and after they put bamboo wood, in the horizontal the stone. The second, maybe they were solar clock, according to the shadow or shade of that province of the stones. Incas could locate the different seasons of the year. And the third hypothesis, they were ideographic writing. Only smart people, they could translate this kind of symbol. Maybe they are related with the constellation of the stars and the
And this is basalt, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, basalt. Yes. Basalt andesite.
Yeah, andesite. Well, depends on how many people you got.
I mean, I'm sure they're all rooms, but after that trip, we went to a restaurant and I had Kui and he had alpaca. Kui is guinea pig, and I was hoping while I was there to have a whole roasted one or a whole fried one. I didn't get to. So what I ordered was basically 2 pieces of a guinea pig, and it was pretty good. The potatoes there are really good, and they're a lot crispier and um, better flavored, I think, than most of the potatoes I've had in restaurants here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, food was interesting to me. That guinea pig tasted like rabbit. If you ever had rabbit, it sort of tasted like that. I had alpaca. I had the backstrap or the tenderloin from an alpaca. It was okay. Little tough. Couldn't really tell it was alpaca or anything. I don't know. That was our first night, our first day. And our first night, we were so tired, we just went back and slept again. But most of our trip, the succeeding days, I think we were there for 4 days total, were spent just looking at a number of archaeological sites and just admiring the building capabilities and engineering of these people. It was something else.